just really like showering me with that affection to make sure that I was, you know, hooked into the relationship.
Right.
But when, just like any hurt person, unfortunately, the narcissists go to the extreme. When he was
Hmm.
disappointed, whatever was
Okay.
in his head and his narrative, when he
Hmm.
was disappointed, which always revolved around the bedroom, when he was upset or didn't agree with maybe something I brought up that, you
Right.
know, I
Right.
picked up at work,
Hmm.
or, you know, tried to express my own independence,
Right. Right.
it turned really bad, like just very constant, just barrage, literally a mental barrage of his narrative and his convincing me of why what I just said is wrong, and
Hmm.
or why what I just did was so disappointing. Or he would give me the silent treatment for me, which was the worst, because that meant that I was shunned. That meant that he didn't love me, you know, like that kind of
Right.
emotional
Right.
interaction was really painful. And like I write in my book, at times, you know, he would do extreme things. He would like lock me outside. I remember distinctly one night I was in my unders, was like pretty much naked. It was raining, it was cold, and he locked me out on our patio, which you would think no big deal. You can just climb out, but it was on a cliff, like our condo was on a cliff. So I had zero way to get back inside.
Wow.
And it was just that physical and mental manipulation and control.
Now his what do you think? His background, his life experience, or was he just being a knucklehead and a troublemaker in your life, or a combination of all the above that made
I
him act that
know.
way? What do you?
It was very, I think if he had ever gone to somebody, he would be diagnosed with that, but I can't ever say, and I won't ever
Yeah.
claim that with the narcissist
Yeah.
behavior, the disorder, because there's a lot of variations, and we have to be careful calling someone who
Yeah.
doesn't really have that disorder a narcissist compared to someone who has. And he very much was that. He was like, at times became borderline just psychopath, like doing things with zero empathy, just like locking me out like that. Like you would really never do to anybody in your right mind. Like the golden rule, you know, treat
Yeah.
others how you want
Right.
to be
Yeah.
treated, flew out
Hmm.
the window. So as far as that, I can't really answer to what it is. I know that he had some turmoil in his childhood
Hmm.
that definitely shaped that. I know that he had parents that also were very, like he could do nothing, no wrong in their eyes. So I don't think that there was a lot of balance there, for him to really root into no, like this is not how you treat other people.
How
He
did
would
you cross?
constantly.
How did you find yourself writing a book about narcissism and empath? What got you started on, well, to
to
look that
to
up and to
answer
even, yeah,
to answer the very question that you had just a few minutes ago about like why, like you seem
yeah.
like so confident, and you being a leader and me being a Christian and meeting him in the church and all that stuff. And I had a beautiful upbringing. My family was loving. I didn't have a lot of trauma other than some emotional things I write about in my book. I had a bully, and my sister moved out under some traumatic experiences, but that was
Hmm.
repaired, and there was always love in the family. So I'm like, how did this happen? Like I literally ended up with this
Yeah.
abusive, emotional abusive psychopath. Like what happened? I was doing really good. I was like leading in the church. And so that question
You're
led
minding
me
your
down
own business as it were.
I was, and I thought he was a really great guy. We were both on the worship team together. Like, yeah, we got to be friends at a summer camp. We volunteered together.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so this path led me down this winding of self transformation, self development, answering this question, and it was very cathartic for me to write the book. It took me 2 years.
Okay.
And I said,
Wow.
I just felt called to just write it out. I was journaled
Hmm.
a lot. You know, that's my
Wow.
way of kind of processing things. And so writing the book then was just, at first it was kind of in this I'm a victim mentality, like how could this happen? And this is everyone's fault. And then I like
Yeah.
rewrote it again and rewrote it
Yeah.
again, and finally came to a place where it was a healing guide for those who need this, you know, the light on their path. And if they're in a dark place,
Yeah.
a book that I really wish that I had when I was in that spot.
Now, when you first started writing the book, per se, victim mode, as you just mentioned,
Yeah.
you're kind of angry.
I was. I was angry for a long time.
How can, okay, I know the people that write me. They write me in private. I don't say their name, of course, because you would know that. Discreet. A lot of them are angry. Understandably so. They know I'm not laughing at them. If I'm saying that to you more than to them. They write, and they're going through that stage you already passed through. But describe what it's like to be in that stage, not knowing what was around the corner, because, well, here we are today, and a book under your belt. But in that moment in time, to help others that are going through that right now, and some of the viewers and the audience that will see this later, what was that like when you started writing and were in victim mode and a little perturbed at the way you were mistreated?
It was tough. I have empathy for those who are in their angry stage. There's lots of different stages of mourning, right? Just as it is when you kind of exit, this is the same process as mourning. You're mourning your expectations. You're mourning what should have been. You're mourning for me, I mourned all of the years that I lost wasting my time with this person.
Wow, yeah.
I mourned especially for me as a Virgo, I'm like, have a really hard time. I see things how they should be, and then I get mad and I try and tell people to fix it, or like I blame them, like, you should have done this, you should have done that. Like, that's in my lowest
that doesn't surprise me about you. That doesn't surprise me about
right.
you. I can see you holding down the fort and can't go like, wait a minute, this is supposed to go this way. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So I had some turmoil and conversations with my parents, and really feeling like it was their responsibility. But, they couldn't help me with that process either. All they could do was,
time out. I do timeouts on the show for all the guys that are listening. I'm sorry, said it. Your parents, why your parents? You're upset because their responsibility. Why were you thinking that?
I was thinking that it was their responsibility to raise me to, like, have radar
To see that?
and
Okay.
know it
I got
all,
you.
to see the signs,
I see what
to
you're
not
saying.
get, Yeah, like they should have given me some street smarts. And then I learned that they didn't really know any better either. And we all have these things, generationally that pass down. And they were convinced too that he was an amazing guy. Narcissists are extremely cunning. They're just like the fox.
Very charming.
Very charming.
Unbelievably charming. It throws me off.
Beyond charming.
Hey,
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, beyond. Yeah, that really should be the red flag. They're beyond charming. They're like super duper charming. I'm like, wait a minute, this person's like too charming. Anyhow, so you're in that angry mode. You're moving through that. So there is, as you're essentially saying and have proved, there is light after being angry. There is light.
Yeah.
Better than that, there is a yellow brick road that does extend itself once you get through that stage. A person doesn't have to think that they're going to be tricked to live the rest of their life that way, angry.
Yeah.
Did you choose to not be a victim anymore? Or was it a process that you went through of growth and blooming emotionally?
It was a process. I wanted to not be the victim. And I would say I'm not the victim, yet I would still act and feel in the victim mode. And I just, in my self-development journey, I found just all the tools that I put in my book. I found the Ho'oponopono prayer. I found, forgiveness exercises, meditations to my inner child meditation to help with all of that. And every step of that way, I was able to energetically clear a little bit more of that victim mentality.
You need to hashtag that. You need to make a T-shirt or something that says that. You energetically. How did you say that? I'm going to rewind this when I
energetically. I'm writing it down. What did I say? Energetically cleared.
Yes, that's your second book right there. That's it. That's the book right there.
Yes.
That's the second book right there.
That victim.
Nobody better steal that either. If anybody steals that, I'm coming after you. That belongs to Raven. That's remember Raven. That's Raven. Don't take it. Oh, I like that because people are struggling with that right now. Many people are not just because they're dealing with a narcissist per se or a person that has the narcissistic traits, and behavior, but also because of COVID. They're stuck with them. They've seen it full fledged right now. The children do not bother the show. Okay, it's okay. The children are.
Okay.
It's okay if they want to. The dog wants to get in on the act. It's okay. It's a family show on a
Okay, love
family
it.
channel, so it's okay. But when it comes to the book, what's been the response that you've had? No worries, no worries. Hey, you know what? This is free TV. This is not the Disney Channel or CNN. Go ahead. You want to go do something? Go ahead. It's okay. Right now, we are with our guest as she maneuvers life in real time. We must all be quiet until she's back. Okay. I like you, Raven. You're funny. All right. What we have seen is that you have put a book together. What has been the response to your book?
Oh, I am so blessed. I bought copies, just a small box. I'm like, I'm not going to need that many. I'll just get 20, right?
20?
And I should have gotten a lot more. I know, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking
like
small.
20.
I was thinking really small.
Yeah.
I should have gotten 200 because I put them up for sale
yes.
on Facebook Marketplace, and they sold out in 2 hours. I was
20?
Like, see,
yeah, you better be glad I'm not your marketing guy. You would have told me that. If I was your consultant, I was like, are you out of your mind? 20? That's like, what are you kidding me? No, you go for 200 or 300. Yeah, you're out of your. No, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, what did you have in your journal that, if you had to say and categorize it, what was it in your journals that you pulled out of there and put in the book? Was it forgiveness? You mentioned a couple of other things. Were there some of the things you put in the book? Or if you gave an overview of what's in the book from your journals, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, I put stories in there that are really raw. I put some real raw confessions and stories and emotions in the book. And then I put a lot of affirmations for those readers that I kind of affirmed myself with as well. And I put the exercises that I've picked up along the way in there. There's a whole chapter educating on narcissism, which I'm sure a conglomerate of all your guests could probably share that. But I kind of break it down for those who maybe are new to it, because a lot of us still are new to it. Yeah. So I help define it. And a lot
of people that watch this channel are victims and survivors, but they're at the beginning stage. The majority of them that watch this channel and this show are at the beginning stage. And that's why, please, everybody, put the pizza down, like, comment, share Raven's page, but buy the book. Please buy the book. Don't waste it on a pizza or 2 pizzas. That could be 2 books. Buy a book for a friend. And if you don't want the book, then get it for a friend. But whatever you do, get the book, add it to your library of information. Go ahead. You were going to say, please.
I said, please.
You were going to say, please.
I was going to say.
You were just talking about in the book. In the book, there are as it were self-confessions and a number of things in the book that you have that are pretty raw and real. I told you in the show prep, I'm locked into you. I'm paying attention to you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'll probably be the only host, whatever show you're going, is paying attention to every single word you're saying. But go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I was just sharing that there's a whole education on that. There's a chapter on the exit plan. I actually share my darkest, deepest, scariest time of where I wanted to end it all. I share that story. So it's really, the goal is to be very relatable. I also share in the very last chapter a little touch about human design, if you have or have not heard of it, because I think we all have this unique person in us. We all have a unique combination and formula. So I share on how that can help you figure out your next step, your way of understanding how beautiful and how unique you are.
Now, in the process of, being an author now, a writer and an author, you went beyond just journaling what has your life been like now? Now that you are, as we can take a guess by the beautiful smile on your face in your very happy cheeks that are happy now, you are narc free, I'm assuming? Is that okay? I don't know, so I just want to ask.
Yes, yes, from him. I'll have a couple other people in my life
All
that
right.
are part of my
All right.
extended family that I can't get rid
Oh,
of. But
some of
it's a
those.
really great lesson to build up
Okay.
boundaries. And yeah, so.
When it comes to boundaries, what are your thoughts on boundaries and how to implement them when you're dealing with someone that's related to you?
The biggest thing is that you need to be gracious and
Okay.
say, no, thank you, but this is
Okay.
what our plan is. And then not waver and not allow their emotions to sway you to cave in to whatever their agenda is and what they want, especially if they manipulate everything around and, hijack the situation, the conversation, the event. You just have to not care. Really, really, truly not care at all if you are
Yeah.
a part of that interaction or not. Because a lot of times with family, you feel left out. If,
Oh.
that situation has been manipulated and you've already
Hmm.
drawn a boundary, and it's like, well, if you cross over the boundary, then that means that you have to go to it. To hold your boundary means that maybe you have to stay home and just say, I'll see you next time, depending on what the interaction is with the relative, right? It's usually around events with family or some, a visit, and they're just starting to just like go in on you with their negative talk. So you really
Now,
have to say, what, if you're going to continue talking to me like that, then, I need to ask you to leave. If you can't stop, like
okay.
this is not, and it's really difficult because family is family and there's a lot
Yeah.
of emotional enmeshment there.
Yeah. But standing up for oneself is a good way to go because you're saying about the not caring part. Some people can find that challenging, but that actually is the way you're going to have to set up the boundary, maybe, right? Because if you care too much, they'll play on that.
Yes. Yes. I firsthand have a complete empathy for that not caring. I have to continually tell myself, you know what? That's her thing. That's his thing. Don't care. Don't care. Like, make your happiness within your own small family that you already have, and don't, you know, gain that love or satisfaction from outside of you and outside of that. And until I could master that, I was just drama came from every
Wow.
corner, with the family member. And then
Wow.
once you master it, there's no more drama.
And when there's no more drama, even though they try to revisit that drama on you, you pretty much keep from being stuck again. Because once you get back into the drama, you're stuck again. Now, and
Yeah.
you freed, really? Recently? What happened?
Just recently I had a conversation, and was wishing this person love and light, and she said, oh, by the way, you're invited to this. And it was we already told her we were not going. We're not driving all the way wherever
Okay.
it was our boundary. Oh, you can,
Right, right.
you're invited to come here, you're welcome to come. And we already told her no, so I said no, thank you. And I did kind of make a mistake and say something that triggered her ego. And I was like, oops. But I said, anyway, sorry, not sorry, kind of a thing. I was experimenting. And
Ah.
yeah, and so eventually, a couple texts back, she went on, and I said, you know what? This is your special day. I don't want to talk about it right now. If you want to talk about it, let's make a call when everyone leaves. And it shut down immediately because she's like, there's nothing to talk about. And I was like, shut it down.
Wow.
Perfect. Great.
Way
Thank
to
you. And now
go.
I've moved on.
Yeah. Way to go.
Yeah.
Way to step out of that and not have it come back to you. I'm
Yeah.
curious. When you talk about people being stuck, you don't just mean emotionally. I'm just asking. People can also be stuck financially in other ways too. People can be stuck multiple ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could be stuck with certain cords of feeling unworthy of receiving abundance or thinking that you have to work really hard to have abundance.
And
Absolutely. Yeah, it could be maybe attracting love. Let's say you're just constantly always feeling like, you're you could be attracting the wrong kind of love. And you're like, oh, I just don't know what's wrong with me. Like all of those patterns of who you're attracting is how you subconsciously are viewing yourself of what you're worth. And the universe wants to bring you somebody loving and healthy and beautiful.
And so a person's self-confidence can really, and the way they view themselves can really be tied to their subconscious, is what you're saying? I'm just guessing. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. Your self-worth goes deeper than just, oh, I don't think I'm worthy of this. It goes beyond your thoughts. It really is subconscious. And sometimes it's even an ancestral, like a farther back than you thing. And it's an ancestral pattern. Yeah.
And that pattern needs to be, a person needs to take a look at that. They need to look at their pattern of thinking, or they're going to stay stuck.
Yeah, and more so, take a look at your emotions, right? Take a look at your emotional triggers. Whatever gets you really riled up is the lesson you need to learn and the spot where you need to shift your narrative, draw boundaries, shift how you feel about something. The emotional trigger is your clue. So as much as it feels natural to get pulled into the emotional trigger, the ideal scenario, if you can, is to, yes, of course, feel it and then observe it. You're like, wow, I'm really triggered right now. Like, this really bothers me. And then start to reassess, where is it coming from? When's the last time you felt this? Like, start finding the patterns so that you can start to stop the patterns and shed them.
Okay, so I want to try this. No, it really makes sense so much that I'm going to use myself as an example. So let's say I'm triggered when I'm just going to pick somebody on TV is talking. This guy is, he could be a newscaster, he can be anybody. I'm not even connected to that person. I don't even know the guy. But when he talks, he irritates me. He just seems so demanding and overbearing. And look, he's not even this or that. And I'm going on and on and on and on and on. And on and on and on. And on and on and on. There's a pretty good chance if we take the template that you just laid out, that moment in time is connected to something, someone, or an event that's locked and triggered in my subconscious, is what you're saying.
Yeah. It could be a parent. It could be a grandparent. It could be...
It could be a sibling.
Yep.
It could
sibling,
be
an ex, a current.
A previous bully. Anything.
Yep.
So now, since that's the case, I'm your guinea pig. What do I need to do?
You need to get it out. I am a huge proponent for journaling it out. Go back to that. So take that emotion you're feeling right now against that newscaster, channel it to the original person, write it all out. I feel this and this makes me sad. And when this person, I'm so angry, journal it all out and get to the root. So that first time, journal about the first time that happened, this person's this and that, whatever you're feeling, get it all out, journal it. And this is my favorite exercise. You need to do it safely, but you need to take a pot, stainless steel pot or something. And
you're scaring me right now,
turn on
Raven.
your fan.
Okay.
Totally serious, but you have to be safe with it. And burn that piece of paper. Transmute it to the universe. Okay. Take a shower afterwards and let it cleanse you away. And that energetic, emotional feeling, 99% of the time will not return again. So essentially, I can't continue to ignore it because I will bounce that trigger, that emotion essentially, off of every person that reminds me of that original either person, event, or whatever it may be. And I'm going through life like I'm going to say a game that you're too young, because you're only 18. So I'm thinking of the game, the tennis game Pong. I don't even know if you remember that where it just hits. Anyhow. It's a video game.
It's an old game. Yeah, it's a video game. Yeah, where it just slowly hits one side and goes back. So I'm really living my life like that. I'm just bouncing off of one. It's like one bad cell tower to another, and I'm thinking I'm living happy, but I'm triggered from one place to another. And God forbid whoever's living with me is going to go crazy. So they're going to go like, he's forever upset at different people. It's like wherever he goes. but
Yeah.
it
And
needs
then
to
they'll
it
see the
needs to be
pattern and
addressed.
they will see it's always the same thing. Why is he always upset about the same thing?
Same thing.
You
Yeah.
won't think it's
Like,
the same thing, but they see
yeah, I
it.
put a different face. Yeah, I'll continue to put a different face to it, but it is the same thing, and I have not addressed it. And so,
Yeah.
therefore, an individual needs to be mindful to address it based upon what you're saying. Is this kind of
Yeah.
touched on in your book, what we're talking about right now?
Yes. And I have exercises just like I had mentioned, different meditations with the free companion guide to my book. So each chapter has some type of exercise that helps you in whatever lesson that is learned in that chapter. Yeah. And it helps you shed those negative patterns and transmute it and be able to move forward and heal.
Now, for me personally, I don't have a copy of the book, but I have this. I don't know if you
If you were
noticed
my
it.
marketing guy, you would have
If
told
you,
me, send him a copy of your book for
tec-
free.
technically, I would have. I would have.
Yes.
No, no, no. Wait, I take that back. No, I wouldn't have. I would have told you to give him a discount.
Aha, aha,
A
discount,
discount.
discounts.
All right, because I'll pay for mine. I hardly ever get tell people to give it to me free, even though people are kind enough. Behind me here,
Yeah, there it
I
is. You
have a
want to see
copy
it
of the
in
book
real
on the
person?
screen. Well, yeah, I would like you to hold. There you go. That's what I wanted. I wanted you to hold it up. Can everybody still hear me there? Are you still there? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
hold it there for a second. Raise it up a little bit so everybody can see it on the screen because I know my followers how they are. That's perfect. Now it says empath, the narcissist, a healing guide for people pleasers. Now I'm curious to ask you this: did you consider yourself a people pleaser?
No, not when I was one. I didn't.
Oh,
I
you need to put.
I didn't
Okay,
think
I
I
know you're
had
gonna
any
make another book,
problems.
but you need a line in the book that says that. You need to that you should go on other people's shows, and that should be the first line coming out of it. That should be the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, I know a lot of people pleasers, and they don't think they're people pleasers. I didn't think I was a people pleaser when I was one, and just start the show that way. That is so true, isn't it? That a person that
Mm-hmm.
finds himself in that position is less likely to say, "Hey, that's me."
Yeah.
You didn't see that it was you. Why?
I just learned. We learned through example, and I learned, especially in how I was raised in the Christian church, is that service is first and foremost. And I think service without boundaries can turn someone into a people pleaser. And I also realized as I grew out of my codependency, that was a huge other word that I was like, what is that? And my therapist said, you may want to consider looking up the word codependency because she saw I was codependent. I was like, what are you talking about?
Uh,
I loved how she
okay.
phrased it for me. And
You might want to
so
look that up. Okay.
I realized I was surrounded by them. I grew up with
Wow.
people pleasers. I grew up with people who were codependent on other people not getting mad at them. So they would skirt around this issue and they would say yes to
Yeah.
this person and yes to that person and competing against each other. And as much as they didn't want to do it, they just habitually did it. So I picked up on that. And that's what I kind of morphed into that role myself.
A
And I
community of
psychoanalyze it a
people
little bit
pleasers.
more in my book. Yeah, I was a
You do.
community of people
Yeah.
pleasers.
And
I
so
do.
it
Yeah.
was hard to break away from that, or what?
Yeah, it's really hard to rewrite that narrative because you feel guilty for, again, we were talking about boundaries, for putting up a boundary
Yes.
that may be
Yes.
healthy for you.
Hmm.
You think you're being
Hmm.
a jerk, but you're really not. You're just being healthy and drawing a boundary. And I remember when I first did it with my own mother, we kind of stopped talking for a little while because we didn't know how to relate to each other when I put up a healthy boundary. We found our
Right.
way back to having healthy boundaries, but that feeling when you're a people pleaser of depending on others to be happy with you
Hmm.
defines your happiness.
Right.
It feels really empty when all of a sudden you're not doing that. You have to find your happiness, which is already there, but you have to really focus in on your center and yourself to find that happiness.
I like to take a moment to kind of linger in what we're talking about right now, because again, as I said much earlier, I know who writes me, and I know some of the things they talk about. This is a common subject as well. But you said, I love the words you said. It, you essentially are saying I'm gonna put it this way. A person can start to feel guilty for setting up boundaries while they live their life as a people pleaser and a codependent, but they need to kind of, well, walk through that guilt or even shame,
Yeah.
whether it's internal or somebody tries to heap it and dump it up on them because they're setting up a boundary, is what you're saying, if I get you correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an internal and an external battle, depending on the relationship and the person you're dealing with. Yeah.
And if you experienced that, then I'm just going to go that route. You experienced that where you were internally feeling kind of bad when you did this with your mom, but it all worked out, is essentially what I'm trying to say for those who are maybe listening and watch this later. It will in itself balance out to a healthy relationship. If you, at least on your side, are doing healthy, hopefully the other person will do the same and you'll have a healthy relationship. But it doesn't always work that way, but that should not be our problem if the other person is going to be unhealthy. We have to set up some type of boundary, is what you're saying.
Yes,
Not easy,
and
though.
the biggest concept that freed me and allowed me to be able to stop pleasing others was the concept of when you say something, do something, or set up a boundary or whatever you do, it is the other person's responsibility to react however they're going to react. It's their journey. It's not your responsibility about how they feel. I mean, of course, unless you don't want to be a huge jerk, we're still doing the golden rule here, but making sure that you have the right boundaries. You choose not to go to something. If someone is upset, they start to try and guilt you into going. That's their response. I know it's kind of a hot topic. People say that's a them problem, not a you problem. There's another way of talking about it. But it's their responsibility how they react. So it's not your responsibility.
We can't, of course, control their behavior, nor then should we, if I understand you correctly, nor should we, if they respond like the dog right now and just start barking because we didn't do what they wanted us to do, what? I don't mind the dog barking. It does not bother me or any of the viewers. It's okay. The dog knows you're famous now.
I'm seeing what the dog is doing. I know.
Well, hopefully the
we
dog
probably just
is.
got a package. She likes no nothing. Oh, it was their show. There was a doorbell on their show, and the dog decided
see, look at that.
the doorbell.
See? All right, you see that?
Yeah.
The dog.
She does
The
it all
dog
the
is
time.
the dog is codependent to the doorbell. So what I was gonna say is,
She really is.
you pretty much have you pretty much have a scenario that you laid out in which we can't have high expectations that they're going to understand our boundaries, nor can we really absorb their anger if they don't want to work with our boundaries.
Absolutely.
But we still have to have boundaries.
Yeah, you do. You get burned out. You get exhausted. I mean, you can't live your life as, if you may be feeling or experiencing when you're constantly trying to please all these people. What do you have left for yourself? And you always kind of end up either getting burned in the end anyway. So why did you put in that huge effort? And you just always feel drained, right? If you ever feel that symptom of always feeling drained, it is because you're allowing others to drain that energy and trying to get them to love you and be happy in an unhealthy way.
Within your family arrangement, did you recognize that people were draining your energy for their very existence, I like that face you just made. You're definitely a parent. You're so a parent. You are so a parent with that face. I almost got scared and didn't want to say anything. So I thought I was going to get in trouble. So
she
in your
asked me
relationship,
how to spell something, and I had no idea how to spell it. That was my face. I don't know.
That was like real. That was like a real-time word boundary. That was like, I have no idea. That's why you have an electronic device. It's like I left school a long time ago. That's the look you gave her. It was like, I did my time. You figure it out. All right.
I did it.
So when it comes to your relationship that you have with your mom or within the family, you've navigated that, but through the difficult times you navigated that. No one should then feel like, well, they have to carry someone else. But your book, it helped you relieve a lot of things that you were carrying around inside, whether it be anger, shame, guilt, or a number of other things.
Yeah.
But what does the book mean to you now that your life has been put to paper?
Good question. For me, the book is like a lamppost. It's just a conglomerate of my learnings and stories, shining the light on the path for someone coming along that's fumbling through the dark. It's like a hand reaching out, like, okay, here's your next stone to step. I got you. Here, like, that's how I see my book. It's very much, that's why I called it a guide. It's not a ranting and raving and this woe is me story. It's very much a lamppost for others. That's my book.
That's what, ooh, I lost my voice there for a second. That's why I asked you that question, because I noticed that about you, you're not big on woe is me. But you did have a moment of being in victim mode, you said.
Yeah,
So,
I was for a while.
So I have to do something here. I'm going to do it in just a second on my screen over here. I have just went to your page. What is your page again, please, my friend? Please tell everyone your page is.
It's at unlockyourdestiny.ravenscott.
There, your bio says you're helping empaths shed negative patterns, is what I'm looking over here. You are a life purpose advocate. A life purpose advocate. The book is going to help people to be able to do that, and you can help them with the coaching that you provide. Like, comment, share, follow Raven.
Yes.
Please, everybody, remember Raven. I'm going to turn to the screen here for a second, over here, the big one, and read some comments in just a second. But I'm also going to go back over here and point out a couple of things. But Dee Dee, because we just gave you that name the other day, double dot theory, because you were on the show with us, I think, yesterday. That is your new name now. That's not her name. I think that we just gave her that name yesterday. Dee Dee says, how did you rebuild the relationship with your mom after you established your boundaries?
That's a great question. Time and effort. We had to figure out how to learn how to communicate to each other, new topics to talk about. My huge boundary was I was talking to her about problems in my life, and she was, the role that my parents always loved to play was that rescuer, and it actually was sabotaging, my life lessons and my relationships. So it was just, the bridge was time for me reaching out to her, when I thought about her, and then she would send me a little text, reaching back to me. Honestly, the kids helped with that bridge too. So sharing pictures with her of the kids, and then she would say, "Thank you so much for sending the pictures," and then I can, have a really different narrative conversation with her. Yeah. And then spending time with her. She's out of state, so when she would come into town, that obviously was a huge opportunity to reframe the conversation and the relationship, and a different route. So it really has been beautiful.
So you were able to control the narrative. You took control of the narrative instead of letting her have it.
Yeah,
right.
Well, because she felt awkward, and she's like, well, now what do I do? She wasn't trying to be manipulative or mean. She just was like, I don't know how to relate to you now, because for so long as your child, I've been trying to rescue you. Yeah. And so, through her silence of the unknown of how do I talk to her now, I was able to, shape that narrative. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's something that many have experienced, but many of us need to be aware of, that when we shift the boundaries, we take the narrative ourselves, they could easily get lost. So I just got to ask you this. So when we started the show, were you nervous?
No, I was excited. You're an awesome host. I was just excited to have fun with you.
You're being kind. Oh man, you're gonna make me cry. Stop it! Stop it! Just stop it! Wait here, I gotta give you one of these. That's because Raven is totally awesome. Okay, you got another one. Another one
awesome.
Here. People. My goodness. People love people pleasers because they love human doormats. So I woke up and stopped, and who got offended? Got offended, didn't care no more since they never did. They never cared, so they stopped caring the same way. When it comes to
Hmm.
people pleasers, this
Sounds
is
like a
something.
one-way street relationship.
This this is that might be a chapter in your book. That should be a chapter in your book.
That could be my next book.
You need a post that says a hashtag one way street relationship, whatever you just said, and then make a list of things that people need to do to not be in that type of relationship. I'm sorry, these things pop in my head. I just got to get them out because I don't write
I
them
am
down.
writing notes
I
because,
used to write them
I'm
down.
always,
I don't.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, growth is good, and you never know when you get a good idea. You might as well take it. And I
Yeah.
repeat, if I give this idea out and Raven writes it down, you better not do it anywhere else, somebody. I'll find you. I'll find you. I'll type in your comments. You stole that from Raven. Okay. So essentially, people pleasers. Fatwa is saying there are some people that just love to have people pleasers around because they do the dirty work, essentially, and they can walk all over them.
Yeah. Yeah, that might even come from people who are used to their parents doing everything for them. And then they grow up to be an adult
Ah.
and then they don't know how to function. So they find people that are
Whoa.
willing
Look at
to do it for them.
Look at you getting deep. Oh, look at you getting
Like
deep. That's a
that.
good one. No, I'm sorry. Okay, look on the screen. And like as soon as you said it, Fatwa said exactly.
Exactly.
Um, you got a point there. That's a foundation of like the first two chapters in a book. Okay, forget it doesn't even have to be about getting married or dating or courting someone. Some people are just like that they have been entitled to
Yeah.
be treated as if they don't have to problem solve.
Yeah.
They can just do as they wish. They just need the right people around them, and sometimes marry those people and
Yeah.
tell them don't have children because that'll take away from all the attention I'm going
You're
to get.
giving me flashbacks. Stop.
I'm sorry. This is supposed to be an anti-triggering
I'm
show, so,
healed. I'm healed. I'm okay. I'm
okay,
just joking.
you freak me out because I go like, oh my goodness, I'll feel bad. I won't sleep for 2 days.
No, you're fine.
Dee Dee says thank you, great message. Double dot theory is actually a 30-day challenge where people challenge themselves to learn about one topic for 30 days. Boundaries would be a great topic to focus on. So there you go. I just love saying Dee Dee now. Double
Yeah.
underscore dot underscore theory highlights to us a 30-day challenge for people to maybe focus on boundaries. If anyone decides to do that, Raven and I will be back together and we'll discuss boundaries and do a whole hour on boundaries. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
to
let's
me
do it. I'm
because
happy to
no, I'm
collaborate with
serious.
whoever's
We,
making that 30-day
yeah,
challenge.
I didn't know that existed. Thank you, Double Dot, for telling me that. We
Yeah,
may
reach out,
have
Double Dot.
to. Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to them too. I'm gonna see what we can put together. And if anybody takes our idea, it's okay because nobody's gonna be better than Dee Dee and Raven and I together on
No,
boundaries. We'll blow them
we're
out of the water.
all light.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
more light we share, the more the better.
There you go. There you go. Somebody, I'm sorry, Fadwa is telling you thank you. She's giving you some applause. I got to do this before
Thank
we have to
you.
go because we literally have been talking for 56 minutes and counting. Time has truly flown by, but I
Yeah,
gotta,
fast.
when it comes to, this is one of your posts, when it comes to your life, you posted this. Actually, the post says that. You did this post when, June 30th. It says, when it comes to your life, let no one hold the pen. You come up with some really cool posts, and I love the graphics. You did some
Thanks.
nice work there. When it comes to your life, let no one hold the pen. Matter of fact, in the comments, you said this. I'm going to read part of it. It says, this unknown author's quote was the number one thing that emboldened me to press on in my spiritual transformation. Out of the codependent and powerless girl that was easily controlled by others to an independent, kick butt, that's not what you said, but kick butt, I edited that, woman who leads and manifests her dream. You're an independent woman who is strong and takes the lead towards your dreams. You were not that at one time, but now you are who you are. What advice do you give before we end this show to another young woman, young lady, who's beginning her journey of finding out that she's dealing with someone who doesn't care about her? and is not interested in her emotional stability and well-being and is not making her a better person. What advice do you give her?
You are worth so much more. You are worth all of those the feelings of desire. I wish he was this. I wish he would do this. I wish I was loved more. You deserve all of that. And it's not his responsibility to fulfill that. You know, it's within you. And when you find it within you, you will see that you don't need to be with this person anymore. And the universe will bring you somebody else more amazing than you can even imagine. So you are worth it. You are worth it.
There are a number of millennials that reach out to this particular platform, and most of them are young women, early 20s, 18 maybe, 19, 17, mid 30s, who are in a relationship that they need to hear what you just said. Very important, because their identity is being erased.
Yeah.
Just to hear some of the stories, it's amazing. Their identity is being erased by someone who is out to literally make them feel and be invisible. And to hear you say that, and I like this post. I had
So
to read
tragic.
it for everybody to see it. Please go to like, comment, share, follow Raven's page. Everyone, please remember Raven. She is one of a kind, and that needs to. You need to follow her. What's your page again for us, please? Websites,
Thank
any other
you.
places? Where else can people find you?
Yeah, at unlockyourdestiny.ravenscott is my Instagram. I have a group on Facebook. It's called Women Empaths Self-Development to Unlock Your Destiny. And my website, unlockyourdestiny.net.
Yeah. I'm going to turn to the screen here. Thank you for doing that. I got to turn to the screen because Fatwa, you or something else. Fatwa says, "Wish I heard this at 17."
Me too.
You don't have no idea how you just made my entire day, because that is when I do these shows on the podcast format. We have our TV network side on narcissism, but when I do these are geared for young women and young men to hear others just like you. So Fatwa, please, yourself and others, have them get Raven's book, please. Raven's
Yes.
book can open many doors for a lot of people, and I just can't wait for my copy. Anyhow, what I was going to say.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I got it.
I had
I'll
to
send
stick
it to
that
you.
in. I don't normally do that. I just had to stick it in because
I need to order 200 more books and then I'll send you the copy.
Okay, first of all, truthfully, for the 30 seconds that I will be your media guy, you need 300 books.
Okay.
And as soon
Thank you for the advice.
as soon as it gets down to 50 books left, you order another 300.
Order more.
And it creates a numerical rhythm that you will get,
Okay.
and they will go very fast. They will go. So everybody, please get her book, Double Dot Theory. And Dee Dee and I are going to have to put our minds together, and we're going to get with you, Raven, because she just put on the screen. Oh, I love it. We might just have to do a live together. So all three of us can do a live together. It's not a problem. And
Cool.
with my equipment, we can take phone-in calls if we need to. On boundaries, we'll put something together. So everybody, feel free to hashtag tell a friend to come back and see Raven, myself, and Dee Dee, Double Dot there, which is not her name,
love that
or his
idea.
name. And we'll get together and do something on boundaries, focusing on maybe some aspects of your book that you could read to us during the show as well. If you ever get the urge to give away a copy of the book, I know we kind of touched on that. You're more than welcome to come back on the 27th. Even if we do a little short one, we can put our minds together and do a giveaway. Or you have a way that a person can get a copy or something. Go ahead, clarify it.
I have a giveaway. Yeah, you can get a copy. It's a free gift. So it's unlockyourdestiny.net/free gift. So just head over to that and you can get your free ebook version copy.
Okay. Do me a huge favor. I'm going to upload this after I put some hashtags to it.
I'll put it in
Take over the comments. Yep, take over the comments. They're yours. You consider my page a billboard for whatever you need to highlight. Your Facebook group. Mention all of that in there. Everything about you except your Social Security number. Put everything else in. No phone number. Just put everything. So because the people that will watch this later will love to have that information so they can get a copy of the book. I would love to be able to do a show in which we got the book open and we just start pulling information out of it and just talking to the audience. Maybe we'll set that up. It may not be able to do it in July, but we'll be able to do it maybe in August or September.
Yeah.
I want to highlight your book a little bit more once I get a copy, and then you got a copy. Hey, we can. Oh, no, I'm serious. We'll open it up and we'll talk a little bit more. I've done that with a few other people in the show. The audience really loved it. When I had a copy, they had a copy, and we just start talking about it. Of course, people want to get one.
Like a little mini
then.
book club session.
Yeah.
You got to get your copy so we can have a book
if they don't, that's right. If they didn't have the copy, they have to get one. Somebody said, "Oh, Fatwa, once again, before we have to go, please show the book." Somebody's saying it on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Show the book again for us, please.
Again.
Can we see it in there? Yeah, there. That's perfect. Right in. That's perfect. That's perfect. So Fatwa, there you go. Again,
it's on
Empath
Amazon.
And the Narcissist. It's on Amazon. A healing guide for people pleasers. Get a copy for yourself. Donate a copy to a friend. Get two, or at least tell a friend. #tell a friend and let them know how they can get a copy of the book. Thank you, everyone. We're going to go for now. Thank you so much for being awesomely cool, beautiful person inside and out, and a great mom that can really help her children learn new words. So I'm just messing with you.
It must have been somebody's
awesome
name because I did not recognize the word.
It's a history stuff. That's too much. That's too much. Anyhow, thank you so much for being awesome. We will talk again.
Thank you.
Everyone's sending you love as I'm talking, as we speak.
I love it. I'm sending you so much love, everybody.
They love you. Appreciate it. Don't change a thing about yourself, Raven, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you, everybody.
I won't.
Love you guys. Thank you, Raven.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.